I'm going to attempt to explain some things that I've been meaning to explain for quite some time, but just haven't found the moment. And now, even though I have recently knocked out my own front tooth and given myself a concussion, I'm going to take the time to make this video. I've made posts before, I've made calls before, I've protested before. This will be the first video I'm making, so hopefully it's useful. We are in really deep shit. The Trump administration likes to flood the zone, as they call it, and overwhelm its opposition and its populace with a never-ending stream of crimes and bullshit so that no one can ever keep up. And it's a pretty effective tactic, but I'm going to try in this unscripted video to try to point out what I feel are the most salient things that we need to be aware of. The obvious conclusion to start off with is that we are in really deep shit. But what kind of deep shit are we in? This is the kind. We're in the kind of deep shit where our government is comprised of corrupt, child rapist protecting criminals who have been caught red-handed conducting cover-ups of this, cover-ups of that. We're in the type of deep shit where they have multi-pronged plans that are currently in action to disenfranchise, suppress, and interfere with our elections. Because they know that they're losing. They know that even portions of the Republican base are turning against them. They're losing special election after special election. And they know they can't afford to lose power because they know they are guilty. And they have no intention of ever losing power. We've already seen how they react when they lose an election that they don't want to lose. And they're going to try to reject the results again. I don't know exactly which scheme they're going to try, but they're going to try something. Probably it's going to have something to do with this war that they've just started. They're going to say, oh, it's wartime, so we have to cancel the elections. That's not how it works. They want it to work that way, but that's not how it is supposed to work. They're going to try to say illegals are voting, and that's why we have to cancel it. No, they're not. In 2024, there were hundreds and hundreds of bomb threats directed at polling locations in liberal areas. Elon Musk committed electoral fraud by mailing pre-filled ballots to people and conducting his illegal election lottery. There is nothing they won't try. Trump has already called to nationalize elections and hinted that, if there's just a couple key locations where we might need to meddle with the results. And even though it's so uncomfortable, we need to take that seriously. And taking that seriously means that we are, each of us, going to have to accept some level of risk, which is not something that Americans are used to doing. That could come in various forms. For some people, it might be going to a protest. For some people, it might be potentially losing some income. For some people, it might be actually speaking to that Trump supporter who you've always avoided talking to about these subjects because you have been friends for so long and you don't want anything to be uncomfortable. But this has to be uncomfortable because being uncomfortable is only the tiniest speck of sand compared to the dark time that we're about to enter if we allow these people to further solidify their hold on power. They have January 6th insurrectionists and Proud Boys and every other bottom scrounging criminal that they can think of hired up right now into ICE with a budget larger than most militaries in the world. And they're using that budget to build detention centers across this country capable of holding 30% of us. That's not for illegal immigrants. as Trump has said, homegrowns are next. And they've shown us that they have no qualms about shooting American citizens in the back, lying about it to our faces, and then just stonewalling any attempt at bringing justice to the perpetrators. Because they don't ever mean to face consequences. And each of us has to take responsibility on some level for making sure that they do face them, not just to punish them, but to safeguard the future of everyone that we know, including ourselves. And that's not something that's comfortable. I don't know exactly what is going to happen in the future, but I do know that as tired as this quote may seem, the only thing required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And they haven't been doing nothing, but there are still too many of us who are doing closer to nothing than we should. And it's horrible that we've been brought to these times by these greedy, morally depraved, pedophile protecting criminals, but we have. And there, as they say so often these days, is no one coming to save us except ourselves and our neighbors. So we need to build community. We need to protest. We need to not fall prey to the fear that they are trying so hard to instill in us through their actions, such as executing Alex Preddy and shooting Renee Nicole Good and threatening random Redditors who post things they don't like and sending people to jail who posted a quote of Charlie Kirk's own words on Facebook. They are going to only increase their attempts to suppress and to terrify us. And it's not going to work. It can't work. So I say to you, please don't turn away from this moment. Maybe there will be times when you can't give your all, and maybe there will be times when you need to rest. But we can't fall into the complacency of thinking that there's going to be a reset button, like the end of a Star Trek episode or some other sitcom where things go back to normal. That's something that I've pointed out Trump supporters have done for a long time. I have felt, had the mistaken idea that no matter how rambunctious they get, that everything's going to kind of go back to a baseline because that's just the way it is. But it isn't. The baseline is crumbling. And if we're going to restore it, we need to each of us take civil responsibility. And I think we can do it. I know we can do it together. And that's all I had to say. Thanks.